percussion. Ladies and gentlemen, world-famous percussionist, Mr. Richie, the Octopus Garcia.
Le habla Richie García, invitándolos a que vengan al Valley Percussion Festival que se va a hacer en Hidalgo, en Texas, en mayo 14. Así que vengan a verme y a otros artistas que van a estar ahí, al igual que yo. Hello friends, please come to the Valley Percussion Festival that will be in Hidalgo, Texas on May 14th. I will be there, as well as other percussionists and musicians. So I look forward to seeing you all. Take care.
Guys, we are here once again with, I guess, the feelings that we are feeling today, this morning, waking up to the news of the Foo Fighters drummer, Taylor Hawkins. It just sets a cloud of gloom over us, right? It's, man, what a tragic loss. And we can only imagine how his bandmates are feeling, how his family is feeling at this moment. And I would like if we could please just have a brief moment of silence to remember Taylor Hawkins. What a tragic loss, guys, that we woke up to this. I actually found out last night, well, early in the morning, right? I was taking care of some stuff for the event, and on my feed, I started to see all these uh, uh, postings about his passing, and uh, we're speechless, right? Who did not like the Foo Fighters music and the powerhouse of a drummer that he was, driving that monster, that force of the Foo Fighters. Uh, Rip Taylor Hawkins. Guys, with that said, would like to invite you guys to check out our content. You're gonna find anything that you may ever just pick any topic, okay, and then go to our content, and you're gonna find one of the best world-class artists or educators talking about that topic, for sure. And the neat thing, guys, is that you're gonna find it that you're gonna find that they cover it in depth. Any question you might have, if you just watch, 99.9%, guys, it's going to be answered, right? And the depth of how they explain is like, oh my gosh, unbelievable. um the whole mess of clinicians and topics, guys. You're gonna be in for a treat. And I've heard a lot of our my friend educators that teach in public school, what they do a lot of the times, guys, is they'll play them for their students during class. That's how in depth they are. So have at it. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, if you haven't liked our Facebook page, Valley Percussion Festival, if you have not followed or subscribed to the G Drums YouTube channel, GDRUMZ, G Drums YouTube channel, please make sure you do, guys, because promise, we will not disappoint your curiosity to learn, and the fun that you will have is guaranteed as you watch these clinics. Yes. Well, with that said, guys, today is a great example. Great example. Imagine having a tremendously seasoned, experienced percussionist drummer that is placed with some of the biggest names in the music history, in the music scene, like Chic Corea, Al Di Meola, Luc Ponty, and many, many, many more. His discography and the people that he has not recorded with, but he has backed up with live, it just goes on and on and on and on. He was Chic Corea's one of Chic Corea's first drummers. Imagine him answering your questions, giving you some guidance. That's what we have today. Without further ado, guys, Tom Brechtlein.
Hey,
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine. Nice day. Just a little thing. I wasn't Chic's first drummer. He had many drummers before me, and who I studied, and to get me at least this far,
Yes. I've seen some of your footage back then, and yeah, you were one of his first drummers, not the first one, but one of the the early days Chic Corea. Am I correct?
No, actually, let's see. You have a wide history.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It goes back to what was his first album, Tones for Jones Bones. I think that might have been, was it Joe Chambers? And then Joe Chambers, and then you had,
You were in the 70s, mid to late 70s with him.
That's
correct?
right. Well, Chick was like, when did Tones for Jones Bones come out? Then Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, Roy Haynes.
Yes.
But these are albums.
Yes.
And then later on, when he started Return to Forever, was Ayrton Moreira with the first two.
Oh, yes.
Light as Return to Forever, Light as a Feather, and then of course the great Lenny White, who was one of the pioneers in if not the, along with Billy Cobham and Billy Cobham, and Billy Cobham, Tony Williams, Lenny White, that era.
Yes.
Alphonse Mousson. If I forgot anybody, Ndugu.
Oh, wow.
My goodness. Ndugu didn't play with Chick, but Ndugu was one of the drummers with Weather Report later on.
Okay. Yeah.
Eric Gravatt with Weather Report. I mean, all these guys. So anyway, there's a long history of guys that I learned from. And then, of course, Steve Gadd with Chick, and even Harvey Mason played on some of the Mad Hatter record too.
Yes.
I can't forget Harvey Mason. Jeez Louise. It's like,
yes.
So, and then you had Jerry Brown. He was the great Jerry Brown. So so I was sort of kind of, let's put it this way. I was before Dave Weckl came on the scene.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
That to me, my introduction to Chic Corea was with the Dave Weckl years. And,
right.
I knew you came before Dave Weckl. To me, at least to the Chic Corea that I was exposed to, you were one of the first drummers, but you just listed a whole slew of people.
Well, then you got to check out Chick with Miles, like Black Beauty, and
yes,
a live record from the Fillmore, and with Jack DeJohnette playing, and then and also Bitches Brew, of course, which
Yes.
has a bunch of guys on it.
Yes. Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So, and then Tony. I don't know if Tony played on any of Chic's records, but I know Chic played with Tony, and then with Elvin, and so you should check out those records.
Yes.
They're great. I mean, they're some of them are I guess, fusion, if you will.
Yes.
And then after that, also Chic's small groups, like they got some great players on there. One being oh boy, it's too early for me.
Yeah.
Jeff, it'll come to me. I'll tell you what. I'll mention Jeff's last name later on, but he's one of my favorite drummers. But anyway,
I see. Man, it's incredible. And Tom, we are blessed to have you here today, because all that history that you just mentioned and all those big names that you just mentioned,
right?
That's where you come from.
Yeah, I mean, that's partially, yeah. And then of course there's the rock and roll side with the Who,
yes,
Cream, the Beatles, of course, the Kinks, and then there's listening to Marvin Gaye and listening to all the Motown stuff and the Stax Volts, all the Stax Volts stuff, and and of course the the Aretha Franklin rhythm section of
yes,
the Muscle Shoals guys,
yes,
stuff that I inadvertently at that time didn't know I was listening to, but was listening to, the guys from Detroit, the guys from Muscle Shoals, and then and then the Stax Volts guys,
I hear you say all of this, and to our audience, we've had the fortune to have Tom in our live events. You have been in our live events twice, am I correct, Tom?
Yes.
And the first time I saw you, we had an after party after the event.
I still talk about that.
Tom,
that restaurant was killer. Oh boy, the best.
I remember you. What I remember, Tom, that day is I remember your clinic from during the day, right?
Yeah.
And you blew me out of the water, man. I was like, holy cow, this guy, his playing skills, his teaching skills, the wealth of knowledge that he has and the ability to deliver it. I was blown away, man.
Oh, okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
But then it's like
the food. No, okay, go ahead.
But it's like if you're saying, but wait, there's more. I remember seeing you perform with that band in the after party, and
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like Tom. It's like if you had another Tom, another version of you playing, because what you played at night was totally different to what you did during the day in your clinic. And I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
You gotta be out of your mind to do that. No, I'm kidding.
It's like, I'm serious, Tom. The way that you just played in a different style and the way you were playing and moving was totally different, man.
Oh, thanks.
It's like, I was like, it's like, the only way I can think about it is like you were like not bipolar. There was one personality in the day, and then there was another one when you were jamming. And I was like, oh my God, using different vocabulary, different style, different way of holding the sticks. Your flow was different. Your body motions were different. It's like, man, how'd you get there? Let me start by asking you this. How did you get there? And mind you, this was about 10, 12 years ago when I saw this.
That's right. Oh no, what, at the Hidalgo, at the events?
Yes.
No, that was about 4 or 5 years ago.
No, 4 or 5 years ago we had you, yes. But the first when I first saw you, and the one experience I'm talking to you about was longer.
Oh, right. I was still living in Los Angeles. Oh,
Yes,
that's right. You're absolutely right. Oh my God. Wow, it's 12 years ago.
about 10 years ago ish. Yes,
Woo! Wow.
Jesus Christ. I'm getting goosebumps, man. Just remembering that
Ah,
time.
yeah.
It's like
Good band too. It's a great band.
yes, Tom. How did you get there?
I get yelled at a lot. I got a lot. Don't do that. Do this. No. What are you doing? You know, it's like, can you hear me? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, I just like all kinds of music, you know, and I got great basics from actually a private teacher who actually had a band method out. I mean, he's retired now, but he has a band method out for Alfred Music, and that's when he left the school district I learned in, which is the East Meadow School District, or the Nassau County School District music program. And his name is John O'Reilly, and his son I had the pleasure of teaching just a couple of lessons, but his son is amazing. His son lives in, I don't know if he still lives in New York, and he's got a whole thing going on. But anyway, John, I remember I was in junior high school, and what happened was, you have group lessons. When like from fourth grade, usually you play in the school band, and then you have these group lessons that you scheduled for.
Yes.
Every week, maybe like 2 days out of the week. So, and you do all that from elementary school up into junior high, I guess, and then, so my first year in junior high school, we had middle school, in New York, we had middle school was 7th, 8th, and 9th. So, what happened was one of the band directors, his name is Kenny Seppi. He's a great teacher. And so I remember he came up to me, and in one of the group lessons, he goes, "Hey, Brechtlein." I go, "Yeah." He said, "You've been sight reading those lessons, haven't you?" I said, so I went, "Yeah." He says, "You're taking private lessons." I go, "No, I'm not." And he says, "Why don't you want to take private lessons?" I said, "Because it's too hoity-toity. I want to be with the guys,
Yeah.
And so he goes, "It's not hoity-toity. Maybe take a private lesson. You should check it out." He goes, "Call this guy, John O'Reilly." I said, "Oh, I know him because when I was a kid, they had summer lessons, and I would be the only one that showed up."
Oh.
So anyway, when I was younger, when I was in elementary school, so I've known him technically since I was 9 years old. So anyway, here I am, 12 going on 13, and I tell my mom, of course, and back then it was $4 for a half an hour lesson.
Yes.
And this guy gave me so great basics, and what we covered in a half an hour every week was amazing. I mean, we did snare drum like NERD, and the Pratt book, and the Wilcoxon book, and what's the other one? A bunch of them, and then we go on to the drum set, advanced techniques, and then the Joe Casadas books for fills around the drum kit, and the Bible of Rock and Roll Drumming, Joel Rothman.
Yeah.
And then the Sandy Feldstein, Roy Burns series of multiple percussions books, where you
yes,
which were fantastic, and you could apply them. You could play them on the drum set.
Yes.
And then we did a little bit of mallets. He gave me a glockenspiel to play, which I hated, so I memorized where everything. And we covered all that in a half an hour. you know, and I learned so much from that. It was I mean, he just gave me great basics, and also the Ted Reed book, and also those Ted Reed books for like, you know, jazz fills and stuff, little jazz fills. And you know, when you're a kid, you don't know what's happening. You just go practice it, and I could do this. And you listen to records, and just it was wild because I think it helped me duplicate more what was happening on records in a lot of ways, because you have the mechanics, and then you go figure it out yourself.
Yes.
Which kids are doing now too by watching YouTube and stuff like that. You know, there are good things about it and there are bad things, like just like everything, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but anyway, and then the school district I came up in, especially all the way through elementary school to high school, was really amazing. They had summer jazz programs and big band programs, and then this fella that who's one of my mentors, his name is Bill Katz from East Meadow High School.
Okay.
Hi, Bill, who is 92, and he's still teaching bassoon, saxophone, and some flute to kids privately. You know, he was the chairman of the high school, and he is just still kicking butt. You know, and keep on, Bill. You know, and I have so much. I owe him so much because it had three big bands, which met every Friday. You know, of your own time after school, and we developed a percussion ensemble, an improvisation class during our lunch times, run by this guy Mike Corea.
Yeah.
And rest in peace. And then we had Theory 1, Theory 2, Theory 3, and then because of Mike Corea, there was modern arranging and independent study. Now, this is a public school. These are teachers who went the extra yard to put this together on their own time. I don't even think they got paid for it. I don't even know. But we had 3 choirs.
Yeah.
And like what would happen sometimes, we didn't play the high school curriculum. We played like the stuff that was happening, like the Thad Jones Bill Lewis charts and whatnot. You know, all the Sandy Mexico charts.
You were playing some meaty stuff, some significant literature.
Yeah, and then we'd have, and everybody was cool. My sophomore year, what a band! I mean, these guys were playing, and some of the guys didn't even have a jazz background. It was, I mean, well, we're in high school. I mean, how?
Yeah, yes.
Some guys do, but then there were also great guys like the great Jeff Hirschfield. Oh, I remember the guy who played with Chic in the trio thing, Jeff Ballard. He's one of my favorite drummers. I don't know if you know Jeff. You should have. I don't know what he's doing now. I mean, I don't know if he's living in Spain or back in New York, but I know he's playing a lot.
I will look for him.
That's the guy who played with Chic. That's on past. He's on Past, Presents, and Futures. That's a great trio record. To me, that's Now He Sings, Now He Sobs too, which is one of the greatest trio records ever. So
yes.
So anyway, so I went to the high school and got me ready. You know, we had guys coming in from New York City, a couple of guys that would try their charts out on us and rehearse the band as if we were pros, you know. So they didn't
high school kids.
That's correct.
Wow.
Along with the wind ensemble, and you know, we had I did a lot, played at Lincoln Center. It was fantastic.
So and who was the teacher that was bringing all of this to you guys?
Bill Katz.
The
guy I just talked about, yeah.
Wow.
And
it's funny because you're literally, Tom, you're talking about the origins of your upbringing in music. And the fact that gentleman went all out. That is no surprise to where you ended today.
Yeah, that whole staff, you know, this guy named Bill Katz headed thing, Rodney Tibbetts, Paul Rosen is the vocal department. Mike Corea did the improvisation stuff and the music theory.
Yes.
Let's see. Mr. Barnett did orchestras.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Katz did the wind ensembles and the jazz ensembles. And I think that's pretty much it. So that staff Oh, Mrs. Mole, who was student teaching there. All these people really were into it, and they were really into educating the kids on the subject, on the subject of making you a better musician and nothing else. I mean, you'd walk into Bill Katz's, they'd all be sitting there into the main office, and there's tons of records from Bix Beiderbecke up to the, the current scene.
Yeah.
And, if you wanted to check out the history of jazz or any kind of music, they had it right there, and it was just like, it was amazing. And they were not only our teachers, but they were, some of them were our best friends. Some of them we got mischievous with, like you do in high school, but it was all good fun, and it all became family, I mean, I sound like real nostalgic and like, some people out there going, yeah, right, but I'm serious as a heart attack. I mean, it was, and that's part and parcel of you wanting to play. I mean, even we had the worst. No, we didn't have the worst marching band, but everything else was like
a high level.
Yes, really high level. You had to audition for your seat every year. You could get challenged during the year for your seat, no matter what group you were in. So you had to, you had to play.
You had to keep on
your stuff.
Yes, you had to have your A game every day.
That's correct, and it was fun. It was fun.
Yes.
So, and then
now I understand a lot of my question. What intrigued me was how did you get to where you are today? You're a chameleon of all styles, man.
Yeah.
And the thing is, since age 9, you were taking private lessons. Well, you were attending that class, but nobody would go, and it turned into a private.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a group lesson, and then unfortunately, even though I was scared out of my brains, because if I didn't practice, I couldn't hide behind another guy and go,
exactly.
You
were held accountable for your development since age 9, man.
Right.
I mean, that pulled. One of my son's texts. He marched a drum corps. And he remembers one of the texts telling the group, either you nail it or I'll rip it out of you. Either you put it, you put it on the table or I'll rip it out of you. And what a way to demand, like, come on, it's time to play, right?
Well, it wasn't that intense,
Yeah. Well, but it kind of put you in that situation in a way, right?
Yeah, that's true. But I also have to. I just got to interject. I'm sorry. I got to really, the person who really first and foremost really helped me with what's happening now is my mother. And my dad passed away when I was 10, and he was dealing with cancer during that whole time.
Oh,
like
man.
9 years old, and I remember she would come with me. We'd take the bus. Because she didn't drive. We take the bus to the high school, from where we were, and then during the band rehearsal, she'd sit there in the auditorium, and the same thing with the lessons. I could walk to Woodland Junior High School, which is where I went to junior high. But when I was 9, but she really nurtured that. But on the other hand, she was one of those parents who said, you should get an education so you have something to fall back on.
Yes.
She was not that thing. But, and I'll tell you a little story. I know I'm going off. I remember we used to argue. I said, look, I want to go into New York City, which was about 40 minutes away or an hour away from where I lived. And I said, I don't want to go to college. She goes, so we used to have this constant thing.
Yes.
So, I finished National Community College, which was another great experience. I studied under Ronnie Gould, who was with the Joffrey and the New York City Ballet, and he was fantastic. He taught me a lot after John O'Reilly about certain ways to to play as far as, I guess you'd call it technique. It is technique, but it's more form. Legit players play a little bit differently in some ways. As I call
Yes.
them legit. I don't mean to insult anybody, but legit is all respect. But
Yes.
I see I'm going off on a tangent. I told you. So reel me in, man. What were we talking about? Okay.
Your mom and how she
Yeah,
was.
so my mom, yeah. So when I finally got Chic's gig, this is I was going to Hofstra University and I wanted to quit. And when after Chic called up, I remember she came up to me and she whispered in my ear and she went, "Now I know why." And it was like, oh, wow, And I was 20 years old at that time. And finally, so that, parents care for you. You're a parent, right?
She was able to see it, and
Well,
she
she
was able
finally
to.
saw it, but they
Yeah,
care for you and they don't want you to struggle,
exactly.
But
But she was smart enough to see, like, oh, he does have a future in this.
well, when that happened, it proved to her.
Yeah.
Basically, inadvertently, I proved to her
Yes.
that, okay, this is what I want and I can do it,
Yes.
And she was very happy about that. But anyway, and then I quit school. Rather rough with Chic. But yeah, that woman, I'll tell you, it's like she definitely gave me strength. I mean, we didn't. I mean, it's the old sounds like a novel. We didn't have a lot of money,
Yes.
but she made sure that I lived a pretty good life, So my hat's off, Mom, wherever you are. I love you. It's great,
She sounds like she's was a beautiful lady, Tom.
She was.
And
She really
it
was.
reminds me, hearing your story. My story is pretty similar. Of course, I'm not at your level in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But my upbringing in music happened when there was some turmoil going on in our house. In our case, my mom and my dad were going through a split. And I was in high school,
Yeah.
and my mom, in order to keep me afloat, I can tell now. She didn't tell me right up front, but now I can tell that she supported my music curiosity.
Yeah.
So that I wouldn't be depressed, so that I wouldn't fall into that depression.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I remember she was not financially well. She was struggling, and yet she still bought me a drum set.
Wow.
And,
That's great.
and she was supportive of me, practicing and spending time with the instrument and getting private lessons at times. And she was extremely supportive. And I can relate to what you're saying. And it comes to proof. Sometimes I tell my students' parents, like, you got to support your son or daughter. If he or she is asking for this right now, and if it's in your possibility,
Yeah.
if I were you, I would do it.
Yeah.
Because what usually stops parents, me being an educator in public school, is this: well, I don't know if I'm going to spend my money and if he or she is going to like it.
Right.
And then I'm thinking, well, how are you going to know that he doesn't, or that
Yeah.
he does?
Well, here's a little thing. What my mom was smart. I mean, when my dad was still alive too. The first Christmas, I got a snare drum. E.W. Kent, single tension snare drum. The next Christmas, I got a cheapo ride cymbal and a cymbal stand. The next Christmas, I was really doing a bass drum and a tom tom. So I got that, the cheapo. I once said in the clinic when I was for Yamaha, I said, they asked me what was my first drum kit. I said, yeah, it was this cheapo Japanese. And I stopped and I looked, and then you see this expensive drum kit behind me, this Japanese. I go, times have changed, But anyway, that's a little aside. Yeah, and everybody laughed too. But yeah, and then so I got a bass drum and a tom tom, and also a hi hat stand, which and a pedals, the ones that said pedal on them.
Yeah,
The pedal, they made a pot metal or something.
yeah.
The bass drum thing was constantly breaking, and so And I think that was a good thing because that was by the time I was 12
Oh,
in junior
wow.
high, you know. And I used that same kit through high school. You know, of course, I was able to make some money in some way or another, and
Yes.
I bought really good pedals.
Yes.
After playing
Yes.
first year in the big band and like mid gig, the pedal going, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But just the same, I had a ride, and then one Christmas I got a ride cymbal, like a Zildjian ride that my mother bought. I mean, it was like, and then I got myself a set of hi-hats. Well, I got a set of hi-hats, new beat hi-hats when they first came out, but it was all piecemeal. And I think that was a cool thing, you know, and, in a way, because I just learned to be okay, learned how that worked, learned how this worked, and like you said, Mom's was going. I mean, she already knew I was really interested in it, but
Yeah.
she was probably thinking if I'm going to spend the money, whatever.
Yeah. Yes.
So she must have seen how it developed.
Yes. Yes.
From the
Yes.
snare
Yes.
drum, and then to this, to that, to that, because the bass. When did I get the bass from? I must have. Yeah, it was around the same time. I didn't have a bass drum and tom tom until I was 12, and then when I was 16, for my birthday, I got a floor tom to match. So, but you know,
It kept your interest going, you know, because you had a few instruments and then you had another one, so it, you know, kept your instinct going, and then another one. Yeah.
and then
Wow.
dovetailed with, you know. So I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know how today you could go that way,
Yeah.
you know, or and there are a lot of drum sets that you could get for, I don't know if it's next to nothing, but or you get a used beginner
Yes.
drum set, you know, and they don't have to be excellent. You can get cheapo cymbals and stuff to begin with, and then when
Exactly.
your son or daughter starts complaining like, man, these aren't cutting it, and they see they're playing, you know.
Yes.
And then
But one of the main things that I do tell my parents is don't, you know, don't do that. I mean,
yes,
you know,
don't discourage it. Encourage it.
exactly. The thing is, Tom, we throw away money when we say we don't have money to do this. You know, if you stop and think of the money that you throw away in other things,
Yeah,
you know, it's like, you know,
yeah.
we could definitely, you know, throw some, towards our son and daughter's interests, and
Yeah.
they'll be surprised what they can do. Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, go to the school concerts. See what you.
Yes.
I mean, I can imagine the parents at the school concerts when they're there. They go like, they got their cameras out and stuff like that, and they're ready to go. But
Yeah.
the other thing is I would put the camera away and check them out and enjoy the whole moment.
Yes.
In
Yes.
in your own camera.
Yes.
They could take in the whole gamut of the kids and stuff. I think it's cool to take pictures and take a little
Yes.
bit of video, but my suggestion, you don't have to, but take about, because I do it too when my niece is in a play and I go, I'll put the camera away, take it all in,
Yeah. You know what I started to do, Tom? I'll take a tripod and I'll put the camera and I'll get it all. I'll record it all, but
There you
I'll
go. You put
soak
it
it in.
there, turn it on, and then enjoy your son
Yes.
or daughter, and
Yes.
just going, yeah. And then at the end, then that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Invest in a tripod and a
Yes.
drum set and a gong and some timpani.
Well, part of this stream, or the way that we run this stream, guys, speaking to the audience right now, our viewers, is it's completely organic, guys. I have learned, doing this and being mentored on the clinics and the festivals and the events. I've been mentored by my good friend Robert Boteo, who happens to be the one that started this Valley Percussion Festival 34 years ago.
Yeah.
And he, sometimes in our live events, a clinician's going, and it's already, he was supposed to go on for 45 minutes, but then it's already an hour gone by, and then people will come and tell him, like, Robert, like, the other guy's next, and he would say, he's in the zone, don't interrupt him, let it happen.
Yeah.
And it's organic, and you, those are the moments when you get to live, and when you get to experience, when you get to see some of the most beautiful things happen. And when it comes to, like, talk shows or the podcast style of this stream, that's when you get the juiciest gold nuggets of information.
You're having a real discussion.
Exactly. I remember when I went to college, and it's funny, and I don't think I've told my professor this, good friend of mine, Mark Ramirez, and he I learned more when I walked into my private lesson and I asked him a question, and I ended up sitting on the couch and we just mulched over it for an hour.
Yeah. Music is conceptual.
Yes.
But to get to the conceptual, unfortunately, kids, you gotta do the technical.
Yes.
So once you get the technical out of the way, then you don't think about it anymore, and you paint, and you draw, or you put the puzzle together, or you can supply what you need in the band. Either as a drummer, bass player, piano player, whatever, singer.
Yes.
You know what your gig is, and then you become, everybody knows what they're doing, and then they're not thinking technical anymore, and you're communicating together.
Yes.
And then you're communicating as a band, communicating to an audience, the music, I mean, and there you go. And then, when you're working out a tune, of course, you work out a little bit of the technical issues, but in the end, you're going for the feel and what you want to put out to the audience.
Yes, the good stuff, the tasty stuff, the stuff that makes people go, wow. It's the conceptual stuff behind it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of students, they go, what do you think about when you play? I go, I think about the music. Or some guys come up to me and he goes, you hear the song, don't you? And I said, well, doesn't everybody? But how are you going to know where you are in the song? I mean, and I'm sure there are a lot of drummers out there that do hear the song. I just never heard anybody ask me that question. It came up about 3 times, and I went, well, of course. I mean, you want to make it sit if you're, and that's the other thing with the styles, going into the styles. It's sort of like, use your ears, Like, if you know it's going to be an Al Green tune, it's going to be like some sort of Al Jackson thing like this. I'm so tired of being alone. I'm so tired. Of course, not a great example, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Or, stay together, it's like, or James Brown, you're going to go like, you're going to think Clyde Stubblefield or Jabbo Starks.
Yes.
And that kind of thing.
Yes.
Rather than, going bananas all over the place, Or
yes.
You go bananas all over the place if it works in that style. But
yes.
If you go, oh, that's that.
Correct.
Like, and I mean, I don't know anything about and Latin is such a broad term, but by playing with guys that know more than I do and just trying to, sometimes I did get in the way, but staying out of the way, and listening, you hear, like, stuff like that. And then
yes.
You play the shuffle. You just listen to what everybody's doing, like. I mean, it's like but you listen to what everybody else is playing, and some of them. I mean, how I learned is like by playing with guys that know it better than I do.
Yes. Now, I would like to stick this question here in the conversation because before we came out live, we were talking about your concepts of playing with a band and your scoop of playing with the band. And the one question that you brought up really quick was, where does the other guy live?
Yeah, I call it checking out where the other guy lives, and that was coined by I remember this friend of mine, Biff Hannon.
Okay.
He'd go, play that, man. I want to check out where you live, like that.
Oh.
He was a hard bopper, so I went, oh wow, check out where you live. So you check out where the other guy lives, like how he likes to feel it, and that was the other thing I was saying. You make the other guy sound good, you know, and I have to constantly remind myself of that. You're into making the other guy sound good, the other person, the other whatever, you know, because if you don't, you're playing by yourself. And that's just my viewpoint. Okay.
Yes, but it makes a lot of sense, Tom.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing with you. It makes a lot of sense to take that approach.
Yeah, you have to. And sometimes I have to slap myself on the wrist and remind myself. You know, you check out not just the bass player be the first guy, and then everybody else check out where the song is, how everybody's playing. The guitar player playing rhythm, the keyboard player, how he's playing. Some guys like to play a little back, so you have to go, okay, you know, that's the way they like that, or whatever. But not in the way of like, you know, oh, I'll do anything you want. But it gives you better information, so you could lay down some kind of foundation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like,
yeah. And with that in mind, things start coming together. And like again, you're in communication with the people you're playing with, which is the bottom line, you know?
Yes.
Communication is senior to the mechanics. It really
is. I like that. Can you repeat that, Tom?
Communication is senior to the mechanics.
Yes. It'll allow for everything to function properly.
And this was said by a very wise man that I read, you know, and it was really, I went, wow, communication is senior to the mechanics. I mean, you could wow everybody with. I mean, and I know people hear this all the time. You know, what fills get the thrills, but what I don't know what it is. But laying down the groove makes the money. But but it also that's a good thing. It does make the money. But that's like roses are red, violets are blue. Some poems rhyme, but this one doesn't. So, you know, you got this and it makes everybody else happy. So when you do something that's flashy or something, usually it just happens.
Yes.
If you're in the zone and you're supporting the music you do, then something happens. Then these points where you play happen, and everything is great.
Yes.
Like it may not happen. You may be ready at the beginning of the gig, but or you may test the waters and said, no, that's not working. So you just lay it down, you know? And especially in jazz, I'm still learning, you know? It's like, like let it go. Just lay it down. It'll happen, you know? Everybody's got to get settled. Everybody's got to get settled before you start doing it.
So at the very beginning, let's say in a rehearsal, or maybe you get called to sit in on a gig and get no rehearsal time. What's your approach to finding out where everybody lives and then allow you to function better?
Play time.
Okay, good.
So
just simple.
Simple. Play simple. Well, you're always playing time. No matter what you do, you're playing time.
Yes.
You know, time and groove. It's got to. That's the bottom line. Everything has a groove. You know, from this to this. That's all like this. That's all got a groove. There's no change. That's all this. range of, I guess we call it flow, like a stream. It's just that's it.
Yes.
And all the bips and baps go boop, bap, boop, bap, boop.
Yes. Now you have information, and now you can interact. And whatever you do, no matter how complex or how simple your
Yeah.
vocabulary is, it's more significant.
Yeah.
It hits the mark.
Yeah. So when you play time, you check it because then it gives room for the piano player to comp where he hears it, like in jazz, but even in what kind of groove, like on a rock thing or a funk thing or whatever, or more eighth note driven type thing. You check out like, okay, does he play more? I mean, for argument's sake, does he play more like a Jamerson type of guy, or does he play like right in, where you want to double the kick drum with him, or you know what I mean? It's like, or does he like to float, or does the guitar player like you want to lock into that rhythm and let the bass player do his thing, or you want to lock into the bass player and let the rhythm guy do his thing, and don't kind of, but it's all like a puzzle, and you lock in with it.
Yes.
I remember one time when I played, myself and the great Roscoe Beck and Robin Ford, we had a group together called the Blue Line. And I remember we were in Amsterdam, and we were just jamming. And Robin plays some of the best rhythm guitar. If you don't know who Robin Ford is, you should go check him out. Google him.
Robin Ford.
Robin Ford. We had a group called Robin Ford and the Blue Line. And if you don't know who Roscoe Beck is, Google him. You'll go, wow, I'm impressed. And so anyway, but Robin was playing this great rhythm guitar, and I just turned to him after we finished. I go, Robin, I said, rhythm guitar is a drummer's best friend, and he took it the right way. He took it as a very high compliment. He went,
yes.
Thank you, man. I said, yeah, man. It's just like it makes my job easier,
Yeah.
The same thing when you're playing with a percussionist. You stay out of the way. It's like checking out where the other guys live. He's a great understanding. I probably just did it inadvertently because I was scared out of my wits. It was 1980. We were in LA. We were playing the Roxy. This is when the Roxy wasn't a pay-to-play place. It was like you had the Bottom Line on the East Coast, and you had the Roxy on the West Coast. So, and you usually play there 2 or 3 nights or something like that. So I think we played there the whole week. And so Chic told me that Don Elias would be joining us. For those of you who don't know Don Elias, he played with Miles. He played with Nina Simone. If you don't know who Nina Simone is, Google it. If you don't know who Don Elias is, Google. But he played percussion with Miles. He also plays great drums. He had a group called Stone Alliance. He played with Joni Mitchell. And if you want to see him play drums, there's a live concert from Santa Barbara with Joni Mitchell, Pat Metheny, Michael Brecker, Jaco Pastorius. Who else is on there? Was it Lyle Mays? I think it's Lyle Mays, yeah. So, and that's great. And he taught me a lot. Anyway, so I go to the Roxy, and the way we were situated was, if you're looking at the stage, the drums are on the left, the keyboards on the right, the bass is in the middle, and the percussion is right here. So literally what I'm just saying right now, because here's my drum set, and Don was right there. And because of the way I had never met Don before, and I'm going, oh, jeez, I said, this guy's like one of the heaviest guys I've ever played with, I guess besides Chic, but also a drummer and percussionist. And so I was really nervous. But anyway, I don't even think we even sound checked. No, I think we did. No, we didn't. He showed up and we played, and we immediately locked in. And I checked out where he was going because I was so amazed by the way he played. And I decided I was going to be an extension of what he was playing. Like for instance, he'd do a thing, I'll just scat something. He goes boom, boom. He'd play on the Ia, which is a bata. But you go boom, boom. So then I just go like this. So that floor tom would be just before he played that last beat, like right? And from that just alone, we became immediate friends. I mean, friends, because we looked at me and he just smiled at me, going like, and I went, oh man, this is, and it became so much fun from the very first note, all because I checked out Don. And then he taught me so many cool things. He'd experiment on me, and I didn't know it, And then I'd make those beats my own and put them right in the music pretty much that night without knowing it,
Wow.
And so that's the other thing too. So with some guys, of course, people who play the style better than you do. I mean, what a great lesson. On the job training.
On the job training, yes.
I mean, I consider myself lucky. I mean, and I'm fortunate that I was able to play with these guys, but most of all, learn from them.
Yes.
Like I told this story the other day. We were doing this album I did with Chic called Tap Step, and we recorded it at his house. And this was 1980.
Yes.
We recorded his house in Los Angeles. And so we take breaks and we go in the kitchen. And the guy that was working for him made these great chicken salad sandwiches. So we go out in the kitchen and had chicken salad sandwich, and it was stereo in the kitchen. And he says, Tommy, I just got this tape from these guys from Cuba called, it's either Los Papines or Los Papinos.
Okay.
And it's a percussion group. But they would also scat the percussion parts. And that intrigued me. And I was listening. And the way they were, this was one thing, was a cappella. They're going, and that little baking was staggered. I went, that is freaking cool. So then we started playing stuff, and I'd start going like mixing a bayon with a tumbao, or whatever you call it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I go like this. I go. And through that, I get like, go into like a 3. So you go.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? So
yes.
And so you got like, and that I learned from Don Elias. That was one of the experiments. He went, Tommy, just play this. And it was like based off of the bata thing, where one guy has boom, boom,
yes,
and it's like boom, bop. You have the ia itotole, and what's the other one? Itotole. I don't know what the other one is. And then there's the ia, which is the mama drum. So
yeah.
So he got on the drum set one soundcheck. He went, Tommy, try this. What can you do with this? He went. And he was trying to, and now I know what he was trying to emulate with the open hi-hat was the boom, right?
Yes.
Because he's got
boom,
bop, boom, bop, and goes boom, boom, bop, 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 bop. And the other guy goes like that. And I can't remember what the other rhythm, which is the hardest one, which is the little guy. And that's the hardest one. Out of the 3 of them, the little guy is Luc Ponty had me do that. You have to keep, oh gosh, so hard. And he started laughing at me. I go, oh. Anyway. So anyway, Don Elias was like going, like that. So then he started playing Ia, and then I would go like this. Then I put it into this. I go.
Yes.
And so I developed that just from listening to Don. It was weird, you know. It just develops all because I checked out where the other guy lives.
Yes.
That's how much trouble I got myself in, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so you have this, you know, it's like a, you know, like you'd have, you know, that the jazz samba type thing with the. You know, did I experiment? Go. Because I was listening to Don, you know, and he was doing some shit like that with the cowbells or whatever, you know, and I go, now that's interesting. Or like, you know, during a bass solo, like, so I know that's kind of like, you know, well, that's good, but what the hell did you do? I don't know.
It's stuff that you picked up by listening.
Yeah, well, the basic was, you know, the pseudo samba thing started like that. It's all started like that, where, you know. And I wanted to imitate the surdo thing. And it's also by watching Ayrton play, you know, which is amazing. If you don't know who Ayrton Moreira is, Google him and watch him. He's amazing. He's one of the most amazing musicians on the planet.
His percussion setup is
a drummer.
Wild. Oh, yes. But his percussion stuff happens to be like very different to what you will see anybody else have.
But his drumming is incredible because of that, you know?
Yes.
And that's
I see what you mean.
But I mean, listen to Light as a Feather, you know, and listen to the first one, Return to Forever, you know. Da, da, da. It's freaking great. And I've seen him play. That's when my how to play a jazz samba all came together, was when I saw him live play. And but anyway, I mean, we played together first when we recorded on the Secret Agent record.
Yeah.
And but if that story comes out, I'll tell you about it. It's funny. But we're talking about right now. But it evolved from, you know, knowing a basic of this. Which, you know, how I learned the basic of it was listening to Steve Gadd kind of play it on a Chuck Mangione record called, what was it called? Main Squeeze. So I said, okay, let's learn the basics. And then to understand what Ayrton was playing. And then I understand what Ayrton was playing. And then when I finally saw Ayrton play, I went like, oh, wow, okay. So then, so here was a basic. I didn't know how to play any Afro-Cuban stuff, you know. And then I had an understanding of this. And then also the Bayonne, you know. The Escola de Samba in Brazil with a guy with this. I know I'm going fast here, but
it's okay.
With the surdo drum, goes in the Escola de Samba. Everybody has a different job. Like you got the guy who plays the congas, you got the guy who plays the cowbell, you got the guy who plays timbales playing the cascara, you got the guy, and then you got snare drummers, you know, doing this, you know, like a. So I started imitating that, you know, with this, from this. Just by watching that. And then I did do this. When it came time for Elias, I started off like this, which was totally cross culture. So I mixed everything, threw it up in the air, and went like, from what I know, I just tried to stay in the groove and not play any kind of clave. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's how that all evolved, you know?
Yeah.
And when I was playing with Robin, we were talking about Robin Ford and the Blue Line. I don't know what rhythm guitar. So, like in the case of Robin, Roscoe was the one who recommended me to Robin. And there were a lot of blues shuffles. So I remember at the end of the night, Roscoe turns around to me. The first time I played with Robin, he goes, Texas shuffle. Because Roscoe's been in Austin forever.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in Texarkana. I mean, from Poughkeepsie to Texarkana to Austin, to LA, back to Austin. But he said, he goes, he looks at me, he goes, Texas double shuffle. I go, and I'm thinking, what the hell is he talking about? I'm going, yeah, you know. Well, but my mind's going, what the hell is he talking about? He goes,
yeah.
Oh, he must mean that Mel Lewis shuffle that they played on Thad Jones and Mel Lewis from the big band, you know, little, you know.
Yes. Big
Tipper. And also from Advanced Techniques to the Modern Drummer. See, now you're working with it, you see?
Yes.
And it's like, which is one of the first exercises he has, you know? Like he has in Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer. So I went, okay, it's probably that. So we went. And he turned around, he went. And I went. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm going. And I'm thinking in my mind, glad that's the right one. So it's like, and then you learn from there, you know?
Yes.
And then, you know, I mean, I listened to, like, you know, Charlie Musselwhite, Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee, Bobby Blueplan. And this was in the van when we were going from place to place. And you pick it up, you know?
Yes.
All that, you know? And with jazz, I just listen to records and I'm still working on it, you know? It's you find your own way.
Yes.
And then, of course, go ahead.
I have another question, Tom. Developing, and the questions that sometimes I do to our guests is based on what I hear, you know, other people voice to me, or I you know, share with me in social media. Sometimes there are people that live here locally with me. Sometimes it's friends in social media. How do you develop? How do you go about developing vocabulary, creativity on the drum set?
Well, first of all, you listen to a lot of music. You start off with the music you like, and then try to get adventurous and check out, maybe your buddy has something other than what you normally listen to. Like if you've never listened to Art Blakey, there's somebody to say, hey, check out this Art Blakey record, you know? Or you go, like today, it'd probably be like, oh, have you checked out Snarky Puppy? And it goes, well, and then you go like, whoa, okay, what's that all about? And then you hear all this stuff, and then you backtrack, you know? Or you listen to what's on the radio and what you like, you know? Or listen to old stuff. And then you listen to it and you try and emulate it. Like, let's see, what would be a good example? Like when I don't know if you've ever heard of a group called Stuff.
Not that I'm aware of. I might have, but
Well,
you know,
no, they were pretty much in New York. There were all these studio musicians. It consisted of two drummers, which was Steve Gadd and Chris Parker,
oh,
who's played on Ashford. Chris has played on Ashford. Chris and Steve played on so many records, as well as Rick Marotta. And now these people are my friends. I'm like, I mean, Rick Marotta, and then Harvey Mason, who used to be in New York, and then, and then
yes,
Grady Tate, and of course Bernard Purdy. These guys all worked in New York, and then the guy who did all the disco records, Jimmy Young, and then of course you had Al Foster and Elvin. I mean, but at any given time, even if they didn't live in New York anymore, they'd be there, So you had a whole gamut, and you'd watch them play, and you'd see the form of the way they played. Am I answering this question? Because I know I'm going.
yes,
Yeah. So, and anyway, I used to go see stuff. And they came out with two records. Oh, it was Cornell Dupree, Eric Gale, Gordon Edwards, and Richard T. And they were amazing. Check them out. But it was all groove orientated. And that's the first time I saw Steve play, and Chris. And I remember I bought tickets. I drove into the city. I got there early, and I bought tickets for both shows. And I sat there before, just as the doors opened, and I didn't leave that seat right in front of the stage. And it was amazing. I mean, let's see. For example, I would try and emulate the groove with what I knew. Of course, I knew all the stuff. I knew, the coordination, four-way coordination. How to play fills and whatever,
yes,
So, but then I'd watch them play. I watched both Steve and Chris play and see the form. And there was this two tunes. One's called Foots, and the other one is called My Sweetness. And they just had incredible grooves to it. And the whole album is great. The first album, all the albums are great. Anyway, this one tune goes, boom, and then Cornell Dupree comes out with no. Cornell is playing and then Eric Gale's playing so already there's a groove established.
yes,
They come in, both of them go. And they were moving just like I'm moving now. And Gordon's laying down these footballs like, real fat,
yes,
And I'm looking, I go, oh, crap. And I didn't even care about the technical part. It just made me feel so good. So I drive home and try and remember that. And I had the record. And then I taped myself on a cheap recording device. And if it sounded good, I knew I had it. Because if you sound good on a set of crappy speakers,
yes,
chances are you got it. And then I just adjust every time. Go to the other part. So, the second part. They go. I'm singing. You can't. You have to buy the record. But the second part goes. But it just had a lilt to it, And plus, I was trying to imitate both drummers because they were playing slightly different things.
yes.
So, but the main thing was that pocket. No matter what you play technically, It's gotta have a pocket, or else
It doesn't matter.
it's you could talk in sentences, or you could just blabber on like I'm doing. No, but it's so that's the first thing, and you're talking about technical and what the question again is, so I don't go off.
To develop how to develop vocabulary and creativity on the instrument.
You want it, and then you take the technical part that like that. There's a lot of paradiddles in it, or paradiddle based, Okay, so you got this. You got. If you wanted to do it literally, you could go.
Yes.
But now you want to put a little. I'm going to sound like Bernard. You want to put a little spice to it. So you do it like. You can do that too. You can make an extension of the paradiddle from the bass drum.
Yes.
It's kind of got a groovy feel.
Yes.
But I took the technical stuff I knew, and you put a groove to it. To where it's like a chef, and on Chopped, where you want to hide that ingredient that just layers out at you. You mix it up, and you subdue you make not make less of it, but you hide it, instead of. Now you got to flow,
Yes.
So,
yes.
And I mean, that's one example.
Yes.
And then I was messing around with Afro-Cuban stuff, like and just because I couldn't sit and play. So I just kind of went like this. To try and imitate.
Yes.
Not authentically. I know I'm going all over the place here, but
it's all good. I again, this is organic, and this is how we learn. And I was checking out some of Drum Channel's footage. I always do, from Dom Lombardi, and a lot of the times he does the same thing. He'll just let the artist go, because that's and he says it a lot in his streams, in his content. That's how we learn. Yeah,
but this is another paradiddle concept. No, good. Now I'm opening up a can of worms. Actually, it's just let's put it this way. It's a stream of triplets. to people and just imitating, and then trying to make it work. Like because when I first started doing it, it was like, nah, that ain't working. It's not smooth. I was just thinking of the basic thing I was thinking of was just a stream of triplets.
Yes.
Something like that, and then
Wow.
But that comes from. Okay, I'll open up the can of worms. You have a paradigm, right? And then you play a triplet form, and I'll show you. 1, 2, 3. Double paradigm. You have. So you do it. Hang on. Let's see. Then you can play it 2 ways. I'll get it together. Hold on. Anyway, a triplet way to do, like in triplet form, with the double paradiddle, you have 1, 2, 3. Triplet form. We have to break it down, but 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's wrong. You can switch between the double paradiddle and the paradiddle triplet style. I know I don't have time to break it down so you can understand, but you know what I'm talking about?
What you're doing is you're going back and forth between a double paradiddle and a single paradiddle.
Triplet style.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, I'm just talking about the basic idea. So
yes.
You have like, So then you try and fit it into. Yeah, so major friends. You did that right now for just what I did, right? No.
Yes.
But kidding. But the basic concept is that, because you can start like work out something like that. But, hearing that, I want that boom, right? So that's a new idea. So let's slow it down. Keep that going. So I'm trying to make it consistent. This is an exercise, So that's going to the Paradiddle triplet style. So that's a combination of just a regular paradiddle.
Yes.
People go, right.
What really caught my attention, and I hope viewers, catch this as well, as you are practically soloing strictly using paradiddles.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, but that could be considered a groove.
Yes.
Now that you know this. Double paradiddle. What I just played is the triplet form of the paradiddle. So I got with the right foot being the right hand, and of course the left hand being the left hand. The old. Develop into that. just by
Yes.
doing it. That's all that. That's that same pattern, you know.
Yes.
That's wrong. No, that's wrong too. Let's just start from the beginning. You know, so you could mess around with that. You know. The other thing is to do it with the hi-hat. You know, and then do your own thing with that. You know. Slow would be 3, 4. So you can use that in jazz if you don't get yelled at. Trying to use it. See. I don't know, but you could use it, you know, or combination thereof, you know. So, you know. Be all you can be.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree with that. Wow.
Yeah.
Tom, you've
No.
taken us on quite a journey from, you know, there's so much knowledge and depth in what you have shared with us today, from you know how important it is to have quality instruction from such
Yeah.
a young age, you know, the quality of
Oh, yeah.
teachers that you were exposed, and
Yeah.
then as you went through your developmental years in junior high and high school, you know, you had teachers that were passionate, obviously, because of what they would share with you guys, and
Yeah.
and then how you know, you yourself just look for so much diversity in what you listen to and what you feed your musical mind with.
Yeah, well,
And
still learning
yes,
today with all the fellas that are around here in Austin and Houston.
yes,
Uh, in Canada, the guy, you know, you got to have Chris Dave in Houston. You know, you got
yes,
guys like Brandon Temple and Daniel Defoe, and here in Austin, among others that I haven't
yes,
mentioned.
Yes.
but that are fantastic. That are just like they got their own thing going on, and then of
Yes.
course, Bill Stewart and just all those guys. They're coming up with so many different things that they're based on rudiments, but you'd never know it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I
Yes.
hate to say it because you go rudiments and you think technical, you're on a groove. Well, that's the challenge.
Yes.
Don't sound. I mean, you can't sound technical, but don't sound technical. These are tools to make music.
Yes. The way that I've learned by experience that my students sound more musical
Yeah.
and more technical is by giving them a heavy dose of technical exercises, but at the same time having them play some musical literature.
Yeah.
And I've seen that that's when they grow, to sound so gorgeous and beautiful.
Right.
They need to have both forms of development and expression.
Yeah. I mean, I remember being on the bus going from town to town. Like I said, when I was 20 or something, and playing melodies with the flam concept. Like you have the Swiss triplet, whatever. So you have something like we used to start off the show with Night Sprite, which has a thing that goes da 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 that was the first lick. So on the bus on my knee, I'd go. Like melodies,
Yes.
just
You,
fooling around, and then that developed, that kind of trying to make it musical, like all those snare drum things, like an NARD. The thing that's really cool about those, and the Pratt book, 13 Solos for the Modern Drummer,
yes.
is that they swing.
Yes. Yes.
And they all have a swing to them. And that's why there's such great books,
Yes. Yes.
They all got a swing to them.
It's funny that you mentioned that book, Tom, because I know that a lot of orchestral percussionists, a lot of the, that are actually, with the top orchestras right now,
right?
They use that book and John Pratt's literature to develop their hands. That's what they use to warm up. And check it out. A lot of them use it. They'll play it all at the piano or pianissimo.
It's incredible. Exactly. When I studied with Ronnie Gould, he said to me, he goes, again, Ronnie he was the principal percussionist for the Joffrey Ballet and the New York City Ballet. But he happened to be a resident teacher at Nassau Community College. So I lucked out, But he came up to me first. He goes, Tommy, I want you to play an open roll. So, okay. He goes, play me a buzz roll. And I went. He goes, now play me an open roll. And I went. No, he said, play me a closed roll. That's right. He said, play me a closed roll. And I went. He goes, no, that's a buzz roll. I said, play me a closed roll. And I did it again. I went. He goes, no, that's a buzz roll. He goes, this is a closed roll. Oh yeah, and I also played a triplet roll. But he said, no, this is a closed roll. I'll do it right here. Which is not. It's so it's not. It's not. And then I went, wow. So he gave me this exercise, and this is the exercise. Well, he told me to throw the stick and feel the tips. That's what he told me. And this is the exercise. I looked at him like, are you kidding me? You know? But when you do this, you do, and you start, instead of 5 strokes, you have a. You know, the same thing. And he told me, then we did the Swiss triplet, we did the flam paradiddles with double rights and double lefts in front. He told me for orchestral playing, when you could do pianissimo flam paradiddles, you do them that way. Like that. Because you talk about pianissimo. You can amaze your friends. You can say, man, I can play a flam paradiddle really fast. Don't tell them what sticking you're using. And you go. I went, wow. And then also, this triplet. Melvin. And I went, wow. And that's all from, he said, throw the stick and feel the tips. And he let the stick do the work. So I applied that to my playing. You know, and likewise, however, you know, you tighten the grip to what, you know, slightly to how you want to articulate, you know. But it's still based on throwing the stick. Letting the stick come up.
You know, Tom, what you just said about what he told you to throw the stick and feel the tips. That when you said that, it cleared, made a lot of things clear to me about your playing, because to me it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to me it seems like your playing style is based off of that.
Yes, it is. And also watching Elvin and watching Steve Gadd.
Yeah.
Because he had that same type of thing.
Yes.
Especially Elvin.
Yes.
But Elvin was more like, you know, I love it. So primal and great. Like, And a little story about Elvin. The concept of that groove. A very prominent, I'd say, respected drummer in Rochester who's not with us anymore, by the name of Vinny Ruggiero. And his son, Charles, is now a great drummer. He works in L.A. and he also works in New York. He's got his own group. Charles Ruggiero. Yeah, man. And he published a book of Vinny's, his father, called The Jazz Book. And it's just, everybody should pick it up. It's got like Philly Joe stuff in it. It's got all kinds of, it's great. It's what he used to teach from. Anyway,
yes.
The legend is that he sat in when Elvin couldn't make it. He played with Coltrane. Coltrane came out of the kitchen only for him because people were sitting in, and put a big smile on his face. That's how heavy Vinny was. And, or Vinny is. And so he asked Elvin, he took a lesson with Elvin. He goes, goes, Mr. Jones, how do you get that big wide beat? And Charles, you could correct me on this if you heard it and I'm telling it wrong. You could say that's not how it went. But the way I heard it from Biff Hannon, my buddy, he said, Mr. Jones, how do you get that big white beat? And Elvin said to him, he goes, well, son, it's like a big bear coming through the woods. Shit, yeah, shit, yeah, shit, yeah. And sure enough, I'm telling you, even the quarter note, if you go shit, yeah, the concept of shit, yeah, you get a big wide beat. You go, down the pipe. Shit yeah in your head. Say shit yeah in your head when I feel. I'm serious with the heart attack. 2, 3.
So that's what internally he was thinking when he would play that riff.
Shit yeah, shit yeah. It's got nice. It's a nice 2 and 4 feel.
Yeah.
That's the concept. That's the deal. And Elvin and McCoy and Jimmy Garrison, they all play shit yeah together. In my opinion, in my estimation, you know.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, thank you so much, sir. We have been highly honored with your presence, sir, and the depth of knowledge, the experience that you have shared with us. You know, our minds are healthier. Our musical minds are a lot healthier because you did this for us today.
Thanks. Or hopefully your minds don't have a lot more dirty words to think about it. It's all part and parcel, you know. It's like you got all these great musicians. You got Dennis Chambers, Peter Erskine, Roy. I mean, all these wonderful guys, you know, that throughout the years, you know, Joe Chambers, Billy Cobb, of course. But like I mentioned, all these guys before, and there are so many more. You know, Clyde. I mean, geez, Clyde Stubblefield, Jabal Starks, Zig. You know, who's one of my idols, and Joe Morello, Sonny Payne. Oh my goodness, Danny Richmond with Mingus. And you know, you got Vinny Caliuta, you got your Vinny Caliuta, you got your Chad Wackerman, you got all these guys. They're amazing, you know.
Yes.
Manu Katché. And that's what's great is because just when you think you got it, but it does 2 things to you. It goes like, wow, why didn't I think of that? But the other thing is it makes you believe in yourself. Like, look, I got my thing too, you know?
Yes.
Everybody's got their own thing, you know? Everyone. That's the way I look at it, you know?
Yeah.
And use that stuff as inspiration, but also nurture your own thing. Use all that stuff. Steal everything, you know?
Cheat, borrow, and steal.
Yeah. I mean, you know, what was it? Was it Stravinsky that said that?
I think so, yeah.
Good composers Good composers compose. Great composers steal, or something like that.
Yeah.
I have to look it up. Anyway.
And they when I went through college in our music history, you found that all the greats, the names that you remember, if you can think of any great composer, doesn't matter who, any great composer, he did that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, how are you gonna learn?
Yes. And you know how sometimes I hear people you've probably heard this too. No, man, you're good. You're a good drummer, in their terms, if you come up with your own stuff. Nothing that you can come up with has anything that you can come up with. This is how I want to say it. Anything that you can come up with has already been done in one
Yeah.
way, shape, or form.
Yeah. But you come up with your own, the way you do it, and it becomes a brand new thing because you take the tools you have and make something brand new.
Exactly.
I know it sounds like I'm talking in circles. People are going, "What the? You just said this," but that's how it grows.
Exactly.
Exactly. The things before a foundation, then finally you find your own way.
Yes.
And then you say, "Oh, we could go that way, go that way, go that way, go that way," and you put this here and there.
Yes, and you can't be afraid to do that. You need to open. I know that personally, when I started to feel more comfortable and feel a little bit more competent as a teacher, as a player, as anything music related, it's when I became comfortable, with that fact and openly did it.
Yeah. Yes. And one side's feeling comfortable, and the other side is like, I got to get better, which that's the whole deal,
Yes.
That's when you get the pit in your stomach and you go, sometimes you go, man, I suck. And it goes, well, it's just that means you're going to get better right after that one. That's you're having just a musical lull always means you're just, to me, means you're getting all this information and then you're basically sorting it out. And then one day you're at the next level, you know?
Yes. You don't feel it, and you eventually are there, and people are praising you, enjoying your performance, your teaching, your whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
And by the time you know it, yes, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, at least you're feeling good about what you're supplying for people, and they like it, and it works, pretty much.
Yeah, a lot of the times I'll be teaching my students, or I'll go and do some session work with clinicking or masterclass, other studios, different schools.
Yeah,
and they'll go like, "Whoa, where'd you learn that? And where'd you learn that? Or how'd you do that? Or like, by just watching, it's nothing new. All I did was got what this guy said, and I repeated it. I just hit record, and then I came here and I hit play. That's all I did.
Yeah. And those are the best times. It's like when you do these gigs and you don't try to do anything. You just kind of just play and say, "Oh, I'm just going to play tonight." And people come up to you, they go, "Wow."
Yes.
And I said, now if I could just do that consistently, I'd be okay,
Well, I know I was like that when I saw you play that evening, man. It was like incredible.
Well, thanks.
Incredible.
I appreciate that.
Yes. Well, Tom, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me. Finally we got this together instead of me forgetting about it. And I was like, wow.
We've been trying to do this for I think at least a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think at first I said, "Oh man, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have the." And then I just went, "Well, now you got Zoom, or you got all this stuff."
Yes.
And then you had just texted me a couple of days ago, and I went, "Yeah, let's do it now. Let's go."
I remember you saying that. Yes. Yes.
So I'm glad you were persistent. So.
Well, thanks, man. I personally, my part in Valley Percussion Festival, I just want to reach out to students, man.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I know I learn from you guys a lot, and I'm motivated a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that, educators out there that get to see this, I'm sure they experience the same thing. Yeah. So it's just a way of.
I mean, you're carrying on the tradition over there, and I think it's incredible what you guys have over there, and more power to you. And you're gonna have Richie there soon, I see.
Yes, Gahate. Yes.
And is his son gonna be coming too? Is he gonna play as well?
No, he's not. I don't think so. I know I talked to him, and we made the agreement with him. I don't know if he's gonna bring his son along, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be him, Daniel Glass, Jeff Prosperi. From the rudimental side of things, Marco Scaripa. He's a young professor here at UTRGV, and he has a punch. He can teach, he can play, and then we also have Sanija Komljanovic. I think
Mhm.
I hope I didn't massacre her name. She's from Russia. She's a professor in Corpus Christi. She's amazing,
Wow.
man. Amazing, amazing. Them two are young talent, but man, they pack a punch.
Oh, should be a nice event.
Yes,
Please
yes.
give Richie my best, would you?
I will. I will, man. I
Yeah.
will. And friends, well, this is our segment for today. Tom, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you. Really.
a-
Thanks.
and anytime, absolutely. Oh, this channel is now your house, sir. It's your home. You're welcome here anytime. Any
Okay.
event you might want to, us to be present and help you stream, we're down.
All right. Thanks so much.
Friends, make sure you like our Facebook page, Valley Percussion Festival. You can even request to join the Valley Percussion Festival group page. Yes, and follow G Drums YouTube channel, GDRUMZ as in zebra, G Drums YouTube channel. And promise, guys, promise you will not be disappointed what you find there and what will be coming in the future. We always strive to have, some of the best world-class educators. Today was obviously um, proof of that. See you next time.
All right. See ya.
I hit the wrong one. I'm sorry.
Ah!